So I decided to do some of the dirty work so that you guys don't have to. Every now and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into random different pros that I know, whether they're on Twitch, YouTube, Google Plus, your sisters. I'm going to be walking you guys through some of the things that I think are slept on that they do. And the whole goal of this is to learn different moves and different ways of fighting arena players. So that way you can learn more just at the same time you're learning with me. And the more you do stuff like this and the more you watch this type of content, you will get better because you're going to see the moves that actually work and are up to date. Do me one solid favor, use code KenBeans in the item shop, and I'm going to be releasing a new mouse pad pretty soon on my website. Just a heads up, let's get into the video. Now, this is really one of the craziest things I've seen recently. I was in Mr. Savage's stream. I saw him moving during an endgame. He created a box. He got on top of the floor just like this and placed the walls going down. He had the edit ready and confirmed for the perfect peak for him to drop down and get the best angle to shoot this guy. This is the first move I wanted to highlight, and this is something I see all pros do, is being very comfortable with editing things from really one box below, just like this. Now, I saw this move first from Raider on his YouTube video the other day. He made like a montage where he was playing with subscribers, and to be honest, it almost just kind of makes sense. Instead of double editing down directly on someone when you get these two top pieces, try to do floor, stair, and then just do the edits just like this. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot more pro players using this move. This is one of the ones that I can actually see being implemented into fights with barely any practice. Raider's gameplay is always super satisfying, and every now and then he comes up with some crazy ways to do some edits. So the next player I want to bring up into this video, he's really good at the game. His name is npen. All their links to the people in this video are going to be down below, by the way. I really wanted to highlight how optimal the pros really are compared to the average players who think a good right hand peek is just doing the bare minimum. As you're watching this clip of npen, you see how extra far he goes out of the way just to get the best right hand peek possible. This is one of the most subtle things that pros do, and they really extend all the way to the left before they go for the shot. This clip had to be edited because not only did he get a pre-fire shot, but he faked the leave out. Whether he messed up the edit or not, he went to the left. It confused him so much that he swung on the wall again, and it lined him up for the best peek. Just to demonstrate again, like this right hand peek stuff, it's really crazy how pros do it differently from the average people. npen, he's playing super cautious in this fight. He's using right hand peeks even when he's full HP. That he knows that if you want to kill someone the best way possible without taking damage, you get that initial crack, it will turn the whole fight around and help you get a quicker kill. You can see how he's almost on a string with this guy that he's versing right here. Every single time this guy moves, he's always reacting and extending the angle to try and get a good shot. To get a smooth right hand peek, so as they're running towards you, you see npen backing up to get a better angle for himself. This helps him get a really strong crack, and then just he continuously gets good shots on this guy throughout the fight. By now, if you know comp, you know that Yamzo is crazy. He's always qualling and stuff. When I was checking out his gameplay, I saw this one clip right here where he's pressuring this guy from the front, but really only because I'm watching his POV, it looked like his main focus was to get the back wall. It makes tons of sense because he was quickly able to run over on that side before this guy even knew what hit him, and although he didn't hit the fattest pump shot of his life, I could imagine that he uses this move more often than not whenever he has the chance to, and it helps him get some decent damage. So this is like kind of one of the subtle things I was talking about. You see Yamzo, he's box fighting this player, he gets a decent amount of damage dealt. This guy goes to run away and tarp away in multiple boxes, and lots of people know that you should be doing this whenever you get weak, right? But I think the best thing to do in this situation, you see how Yamzo went underneath all those builds. He didn't go to the right or the left. Going from the bottom like this, I'm definitely going to start doing this more myself. I'm not sure if you caught it, but he actually placed two builds, the stair and the floor, at the exact same time. Higher tier pros, kind of like npen, I was noticing that I was watching his movement and just how precise he was whenever he was landing or just editing things. You can see how he's lining up this edit to land on the far back side of this cone. This makes it so if the player runs right at him, he'll always have a counter. He can reset that cone or just run right out the left or the right. I noticed that pros do this a lot, and they always tend to be on the back side of the box whenever they drop down in a situation like this, for a good reason, obviously. Here's another thing you might not have caught, and if you weren't paying attention close enough, you definitely missed it. The reason why I caught this myself because I started doing this too. Anytime npen makes an edit that he knows is going to lead to a 50-50, he resets the wall so that he can't get shot. I gotta say, this is one of the best ways to kind of cancel a mistake and kind of fix it right in the moment. If you're always boxing people very easily, chances are they're just gonna hold their shotgun out and let you run at them. That's why he reset the edit and tried to go for a different one. Now, he played it super smooth at the end. Even though he got in the cone, he let the guy reset that wall. He shot it and claimed it back for himself and got a quick kill. So watch Yamzo here. When he got shot by this guy, he went to go heal up and all that. He drops down on the wall, but does the stair phase in exploit. It's definitely a known play to try to box the guy when he drops down like this, but I almost feel as though doing a window edit is actually worse than than doing the edit that Iamzo did in this situation. Just a heads up, if you do this move, maybe experiment with different edits. One of the main things I wanted to highlight though is not necessarily that move, but the fact about how when Iamzo's chasing a player, he high walls up. It looks so smooth and so natural for him to do a window edit and then try and get that cone piece control. Over the years of playing Fortnite, I can assure you by now that doing window edits and placing the cones through it, especially on these high walls, that's the most important thing in Fortnite. Here's one of the best ways to counter someone whenever they pressure your box. First step you do is always start out with a pre-fire. NPen instantly edits this cone into a stair just in case they get the wall. He acts like he's leaving, but what he's actually doing is setting up a counter peek, so hopefully this guy will run right in his wall. He'll get a free shot. Every single pro and their mother are going to be doing this. So again, it's pre-fire, act like you're leaving, and then just do the walls and cones up and down. Hopefully they run into the wall. You can really see here on another example I found this is when he's doing this right hand peek, you swerve hard to the left first and then you slightly inch over to the right and go for a shot. This is one of the massive small things, and you could tell like pros, they have super good patience. Whenever someone's hiding behind a right hand peek, almost every single time you're just gonna sit there and pickaxe it one at a time. What's really gonna step up your game in today's meta is learning how to just pre-fire the second a build breaks. Just learning how low a wall has to be in order for it to break, or when people are about to make an edit, just holding your shotgun out in box fights, it's gonna help you a lot more than not. There's a few things I wanted to point out in this one clip where Iamzo was kind of put on defense. And almost any single time when you get cracked and you're on the run, if you decide that you want to drop, make sure that you're dropping more than one box. The safest thing to do in almost any situation I've noticed is when you drop at least 2 times. It just assures you that you're gonna have a little bit more time to set up a box to try and tarp away and get some heals off. So it's no big deal. He gets some heals off, now he's back into the fight. This has happened to me a million times. When a wall gets stuck in your face, usually what I try to do is run to the outside of the box. Like I'll literally go to the right, place the wall first, and then edit it and run out the box, so that way you have a guaranteed escape. Iamzo knows that he's in a bad spot, but it's better to tank the damage that the guy's gonna do with your shotgun rather than just be trapped in that box. What I really like though is the fake out play. Like he runs away but quickly turns around and makes a nice edit. I can definitely imagine that play working a lot more, especially against a sweat. Once he got a really big shot in this fight, I could tell that this guy was really panicking, but as you can see, he's constantly trying to go from underneath that box and just spraying in with that SMG, forcing himself up through that floor. I would definitely say that there's an art when it comes to keeping pressure up on people, and Iamzo is definitely a good example of that because he's always finding ways to just spray a little SMG, go from underneath the box. The predictions, they're just all on point. But I think that really separates the people who have lots of hours on the game. It's just like their movement and how quick they are to think of solutions to try and throw people's aim off. Even though Iamzo got hit, you can definitely agree that the right play was to jump up as this guy's falling down. And it always seems like pro players that I watch all the time, they make it really hard for themselves to get hit. It can happen, right? But they always take extra steps and different ways to approach a fight so that it's really hard to hit them with subtle things, just like jumping up above people's heads whenever you can. Really quickly, here's one of the things that I saw whenever box fighting someone. It's just a common knowledge thing nowadays on Fort. Whenever you get a crack on someone and they run away and tarp up in multiple boxes, I talked about going from underneath the box, but if you got the wall that leads into their tarp, most people don't tarp away for more than one box. Almost every time you're going to be able to get your SMG to bleed through that stair, and it's going to make them panic even more. I gotta say though, one of the really smart things that pros just like Iamzo does all the time, it's a natural habit for when he tries to take this wall, he's running up into this guy's box now. None of these walls are his, but he's not panicking, and the best thing he does is just crouch to the bottom right. This makes it so that if this guy opens up a right hand peek, he's gonna have to extend his angle and maybe expose himself just a little too much. That might give Iamzo a better shot. Imagine if he was moving on the left side, it would be such an easy right hand peek for this guy to shoot him. Most pros, when you watch them, they always do stuff like this and make it really hard for themselves to get shot so that the player has to overexpose. So here's a move that I was actually talking about with Jivin, and he put this in one of his videos of stuff that he wants to learn. I've really picked up on this move a lot recently, and I've been definitely trying to practice it a lot, although it didn't lead him to get a kill. This certain combination of build techniques, like this high ground retake, so to speak, whenever someone high walls, right, you got a guy above your box, you don't need to edit this wall right here, that's kind of unnecessary, but you place the cone on top of your head and you can go to the side of a build, maybe get the wall just like he did, go for a cone play, running around the side of a build to try and grab the walls, go for piece control. This move is definitely something that pros do all the time, or they at least know of it. This one right here is just a small reminder that whenever you get someone on the same side as your stair, not only can you quickly run to the top, flip it, but the main thing to note is that Iamzo is resetting the builds and confirming a new edit without actually resetting the wall first. There's definitely lots of good people that know of this, but this is just a reminder to use this more often because I feel like it's not used that much. This right here is something that you're always going to see every single pro that you watch. I promise you, they always do this. they take their SMG and they run really close to the guy's box so that they can kind of catch them by surprise, maybe while they're popping minis to get in that wall. They only do this one time, and I know it might sound kind of stupid and just obvious that you got to do that, but if you do it to the point where you're extending it, kind of like how I'm showing you right now, they're going to be more aware that you're coming. But if you kind of hide behind the wall and just snake in just out of like a really sharp line like Yamzo did, it's a lot smarter. If any of these sounded useful, don't forget to use code KenBeans. Like I said, it's super helpful. Also, let me know of any video ideas or any pros that I should be watching to maybe do another style video just like this. Out of all the different styles of content I post, this is definitely the most useful stuff when I watch pros specifically and point out things. Drop a like, hit the sub button, you're new, come by to the streams if you got any questions, and I'll see you later. Peace.